to Rise and Shine Your Life here on Tobago Channel 5. Now, we've got a guest on our program, but we want our viewers to note that our phone lines are opened at this time. We've got Mr. Martin George, attorney at law, treating with some of the issues mentioned here by the Secretary for Tourism and Transportation, who was just on the program, and to treat with another issue as well. But our phone lines are opened at this time. Martin, good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning to you and good morning, Tobago. It's always a pleasure to be here, and it's always a pleasure to speak on issues concerning what is described as Tobago's tourism, because I think we've been living a fantasy for far too long talking about a tourist industry in Tobago. We really do not have such a thing. What we are trying to do is the beginnings of the development of a tourist industry, because we are nowhere near where we should be. When you travel to places like Hong Kong and you go up to the peak and you see thousands of persons lining up to take that tram to go up to the peak, and you see what they have developed up there, when you see the whole of Victoria Harbour and you look down on the bay, up there you have everything. That's what our Fort George should be. They have Starbucks, they have restaurants, they have gift shops, they have every single thing. They have play parks, everything, rides for the kids. They have Zen meditation gardens. What do we have in Tobago? Let's be serious.
The Secretary indicated that we're more into niche tourism, but let's just put a comma here.
Yeah, the niche is zero. That's what we are.
Let's just take this quick call. We've got a call. Good morning and welcome.
Dial your operator.
Okay, I think we might have lost that call. Please, we invite you to call us even during this time, chatting with Mr. Martin George. You said that the niche is zero.
Yes, that's the reality of it, because when you look at it, what we are calling tourism, you take out all the domestic tourism, the Trinidadians from the equation, and Tobago's position is negative. Let us be honest, let us be realistic. And that's the difficulty we've had with our politicians and our leaders. They always put a political spin on things. You have, less than a dozen persons coming on a flight from Brazil to Tobago, and you are saying this is a success. And you are telling Tobagonians, yes, look what we have done. Let's be serious, please.
Okay, we've got another call on the line. Good morning and welcome to you, caller.
Hello?
Yes, good morning to you.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
I have a visitor, I am visiting Tobago on a fairly regular basis. One of the observations I have is that the roads in Tobago, there are plenty of roads paved and things like that, but they don't have any white lines. As a visitor, you get tired when you're going to all the intersections and things like that.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. And, when you look at this scenario and you ask yourself what it is you are marketing to Brazil, you are marketing ecotourism to Brazil, a country with the Amazon jungle, the Amazon River. You have every species of animal, every species of bird that they have. And what are they coming to Tobago for? What are you offering them? You can't even say you're offering them diving, because Belize, which is much closer to them, you have the Blue Hole, one of the world's most famous diving spots. You have diving off Cancun in Mexico, right there in Central America. Why would they come to Trinidad and Tobago? So let us be honest about these things when we are talking about tourism. Let us understand that as far as it is, the THA over the years has had no understanding of what tourism is about, and they still don't. They don't have a clue as to what they're doing, but they do little patch-up jobs and little, bits and pieces, and give this veneer of some improvement.
Okay. We've got another call on the line. Let's just take this call. Good morning and welcome to caller.
Good morning, Ms. Rhea. Good morning, Tobago.
Hi, good morning to you.
Good morning to you again.
Good morning, Mr. Rollins.
Martin George.
Good morning, Mr. Rollins.
Ms. Rhea, I have a very simple question. And this is, when will the Tobago House of Assembly put some washroom facilities down at the place we call Swallows? I've been pleading for this since 2002. That's where the Tobagonians with their kids will go and wade in the water and on the sand.
That's right.
But for God's sake, I've put into the chief counselor, Mr. Pascal, and the flimsy report was they don't own the land, but they can go all about. There is in our statute where you get a portion of land for public use.
That's right.
If I'm contrary, let the good attorney tell me that.
Okay.
Number two, they are doing some paving, and I've never seen such paving on our roads in Tobago all the years. Very unprofessional. The House of Assembly must appoint an inspector or supervisor who knows what paving is about to supervise our contractors.
Okay.
And last but not least, we want to know what it's costing us
Okay.
for the flights coming from Brazil.
Yeah, the Secretary
We
did
have been
indicate.
fooled, just as we have been fooled about eternal self-government. Have a good day.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Now, the Secretary did indicate that she will forward those figures to us. Previous caller indicated here that there's been a lot of paving taking place, no white lines. Mr. Rollocks again indicated such. Now, the thing with the washrooms, the Secretary did indicate that there is that we're more into niche marketing. Maybe I'm just saying here. I'm open for correction. Maybe the establishment of those bathrooms down at Swallows is just not part of the niche.
No, well, the point is, Mr. Wallace is making a general point for the benefit of Tobagonians.
Yes.
Because, and it's a very valid point he's making. And you can't tell me for all these
all
years,
these years. But
that
maybe it's just
something
not
like
part of
that
the niche.
can't be done. And that has nothing to do with tourism. That's provision of basic services for your people. That has nothing to do with tourism. There's no excuse for that. That should be done, years ago. The point is, let me tell you, Tobagonians need to wake up and shake up. They need to realize that we have gotten nowhere. We have spent the last 14 years going nowhere under the current leadership. And the point is, we have to be grateful. We thank them for what they've done, but clearly they can do no more. They are bereft of ideas. They don't even know that they don't know. So they cannot even begin to take Tobago forward. We need young, vibrant persons with, ideas, persons who know, who study, who know how to use the internet to research, get the ideas in. There's so many thousands of Tobagonians that I know, I can tell you, because I interact with people on the internet all the time, who are willing to come back, persons bursting with ideas, new technologies, willing to develop this beautiful little island we have here. But the point is, the current hierarchy do not wish for new ideas or new models or new constructs or designs because they wish to keep Tobagonians in a state of dependency. So therefore, you must come to the THA for a job, so therefore you must vote for them next election. That's all they want. And that is not going to develop Tobago. We have to break free of that. And it's time Tobagonians wake up and open their eyes.
Let's just take another call. Good morning and welcome to you, caller.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning to you.
Right. I want to say pleasant good morning to Tobago and to the panel there.
Yes, good morning.
And I couldn't agree with Mr. George more because over the Easter holiday, I took a trip to Barbados for 1 week. And when you look at the development that is happening in Barbados, it's awesome, and Barbados is right next door to us. As Mr. George says, we need younger people to come on board and move us forward. For example, when you look at the crime situation to tourists in Barbados, it's a no-no with the authorities. You commit a crime, you are caught, you are dealt with severely with the harshest of penalty. Pleasant good morning to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you see, now I heard the secretary chat.
Before you go ahead, we want to invite in Pulse 89.5 listeners, because our sister radio station.
Oh, okay.
Right, we going live on there as well. So
okay, thanks.
We just want to bring them in.
But what I'm saying is, the secretary said that Tobagonians need to buy into it and that it's a total effort and the people need to play their part. Listen, How can the people play a part if you have no leadership? Think of what occurred with the Israelites, wandering around for 40 years in the desert. They were following their leaders, but the leaders didn't know where they were going. So you're going around in circles for 40 years. And that is what is going to happen to Tobago if we don't make a change. We've had the THA Act, which has been enacted since 1980. We are now in 2014. So we're almost nearing the end of our 40 years, you know. We almost nearing the end of our 40 years. From 1980 to now, that's 35 years so far that we've been wandering in the desert with no sense of direction. We just like the Israelites, they did for 40 years, and we are getting there. So we need to understand and say, hey, listen, and I want to make this very clear. This is not about ingratitude. We must thank those who have played their part. All the leaders who have been there at the THA, they have tried, I guess, in various ways. But we must be honest and recognize where we are at now. In other words, if you've reached a point and you're not making progress, then obviously something is wrong, because that's what leadership is about. Leadership is supposed to be taking you forward. It's not supposed to be keeping you stagnant or having you going backwards. Our tourist industry, if you look at it from the years 2003, 2004, we've regressed tremendously since then. So how could that be proper leadership? Let's be honest, let's be realistic about these things, and let us understand that, look, with the talk that they are giving us, it really isn't helping. Let me tell you something. Tobago should be, let me tell you, Tobago's airport should be so, vastly superior and improved to that of Trinidad, because we should be the ones with the greater number of visitors coming through the airport than Piarco. Trinidad doesn't really have a tourist industry. Let's understand that. So if we are the ones with the tourist industry, how come we don't have the greater number of visitors? You go to a small airport like in St. Martin, the Princess Juliana Airport, right there by the beach. That airport, you have every minute a major airline is coming in. I mean, I sat there in amazement. I'm seeing airlines names that I don't even know. You look on the side, you've seen about 30 or 40 private jets. I saw the Houston Rockets, their private jet. I saw the Hornets, their private jet. You've seen just lots of Lear jets, beautiful little jets. People flying in because, listen, St. Martin is much smaller than Tobago.
Okay, we've got another call on the line. Good morning and welcome to you, caller.
Good morning, Ria. Good morning to your guest.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Tobago.
Good morning.
I really want to say this morning, Ria, that I don't share the view of Martin, Georgia. Martin, from what have been blowing a lot of hot air for the longest while. He comes to this program and he create this impression. Yes, he's traveled, and everybody know that, and we appreciate that. But let's get down to the real ball tax of what is happening basically in Tobago. There are some issues as it relates to the tourism product. He's talking about leadership. Who is responsible for ensuring that the development of the infrastructure at the Crown Point International Airport? We are here, and you listened to the Secretary a while ago speak to the whole question of no consultation with the THA, the disrespect, putting plans in place that they did without any consultation. This is the Martin George. Why would he not air his view about that of his friends in government, in central government in Trinidad? This is the Martin George that we keep on listening to and bring in other programs. I want to make the point as well that at some point in time, tourism is not only about just bringing people from off airlines, Caucasian people off airlines. We have the domestic tourism product that is working significantly well. We have the cruise tourism as well. And when I look back this year and saw what the amount of tourists that came by way of cruise tourism and was about Tobago, I listened to the taxi drivers, I listened to the local destinations, and people were very much pleased with the service. And I really want to take this opportunity to commend Mrs. Tracy Davidson-Celestine and the THA for that input as it relates to the new Gulf flight I think that we need to give it some time, and it's going to develop.
Okay.
Don't just sit there and be criticized by Martin George. Martin needs to come with fresh ideas and don't come blowing his trumpet as if he is the where-it-all. We know he's talking for his supper, but we will wait on all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, caller.
Okay. All right. Now, in terms of, I mean, and I don't get into personalities. I don't even know who the caller is. Right? I deal with principles, policies, and procedures. So let's talk about the control in terms of the airport. Under the THA Act, under the 5th schedule, it sets out all the areas of responsibility for the THA, which includes your responsibility for infrastructural development.
Right.
So let us be serious and let us go to the law and get our facts correct. Let's not argue on emotion, right? So the THA has that responsibility. So they can't shirk that duty. They cannot shirk the call when people say, hey, listen, you are not doing enough. Okay? Right. When you talk about, the person says that the Gulf airline is a success. Where are the numbers? We are saying, okay, if it's a success, let us see. From that initiative, how many persons came and booked rooms and paid for it themselves? We're not talking about persons whom the THA would have sponsored or brought, or travel agents or anything of this sort. And you see, this is the thing. Tobagonians, we need to understand. We must not personalize issues when we are talking about things for the greater development of Tobago. That's why I am always saying I am grateful and I'm thankful to those who have been at the assembly, but I am honest enough to recognize that they can do no more. They cannot take us forward. So therefore, you are grateful, you thank them, but you say, hey, listen, let's open our eyes and look for new developments. And on a last note, I would tell you, when you think of something like a hot air balloon, hot air is a great thing. In Albuquerque, New Mexico, I had the best hot air balloon of my ride of my life. And that's something. Why don't we do that in Tobago? Okay. Why isn't that part of our initiative for tourism?
Let's just take this call. Good morning and welcome to you, caller.
Good morning, Mrs. George and
Good morning.
George and Edward.
Good morning.
Mr. George, you do not have to try to justify your posturing. Your posturing is spot on. To the previous caller, let me tell him, when you cannot defend the indefensible, do not try to be a Benny Kid Pirate. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get find yourself in a coma, and you'll be counted out as the next number in terms of an individual going down under. To get to the point, Tobago must understand that tourism, as well as any political trust or direction that the country has to go in terms of its strategic mapping, requires leadership. Leadership must be individuals who knows the way, goes the way, and is prepared to show the way. We are not seeing that. What we are seeing is people trying to defend actions that are not really making any economic sense to the island of Tobago. So that I do not understand. I feel very sorry for Mrs. David Celestine this morning. She's a person I like, and what I would like to say, that I like this morning that I see her for one of the very first time, somewhat relaxed. But she just had no defense. And Rhea, you didn't have to power like that. You remind me of a guy called Roberto Duran. You get the opposition in the corner, and you jab and jab and jab and jab until the individual has to submit. This is what Mrs. Davidson did. She has no excuse, doesn't have a clue as to where we're going. I feel sorry for Tobago. But let me close by saying this. You and all of us have to change our ways. We have to look at tourism as if tourism is ours. No individual can do it. I repeat, Signature said no individual can do it. Have a blessed day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And before you respond here, Mr. George, I know you want to get in. Let's just take one more call just quickly here before you respond. Good morning and welcome to you, caller.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Am I being heard?
Yes, you are. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. The first thing I want to comment on, I didn't intend to say this, but I have to say this one. The caller before the last one is trying to defend the good tourism and the prosperity they see in tourism in Tobago. To me, it's appalling. I don't see that at all. I travel throughout Tobago, you know, and I'm not a very traveled person, but I go some parts of the world, and what we do here, I don't know how somebody could come up and call that this good tourism and so on. Mr. George is perfectly correct about the whole thing. That caller, because he cannot defend what is going on, he tries to attack the individual. I hope we'll get away from that in Tobago. The point about it is, the man is pointing out, is having what I call sensible or constructive criticism. If we want to make correction, we listen to the criticism and take what we could benefit from it. But don't attack the person. It doesn't make sense. Now, I operate in the Charlottesville area. And for years, I've been speaking to people in the tourist area and the agriculture about those stairs coming up the beach. They have those steps there. They put them down roughly and left them there. There was provision for railing and for cleaning the surface. They have never done that. The place is dangerous when it's wet. And I don't know if that is it. On the beach, there used to be 2 pit toilets there. They have covered them up and left the place there. Think about, sometimes there are scores and even up to hundreds of tourists on the beach. And you go there, no toilet facilities. What do you do when the urges come? They don't see that the whole thing. I carry tourists from Charlottesville to Crown Point, and they stop me on the way they want to go to the washroom. There is no washroom along the way to carry these people. It's very embarrassing to you who want to accommodate your tourists who come here. And then I myself am embarrassed by not having the use of it when I travel this distance. So what is this people are seeing as development in Tobago? Okay. I'm wondering. It's time we stop this kind of cliquism and develop Tobago for our people.
Okay.
And stop defending foolishness.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Jones, we've got to take a break here.
Yeah, sure.
So we'll take that break, and when we come back, we'll allow you to respond to the two previous callers. Stay tuned. Join us just after this. Viewers, welcome back to Rise and Shine. Our phone lines are going to be opened still. Mr. Martin George, attorney at law, is still on the program with us. I want to give you a chance to respond here before we accept any more calls. I want to give you an opportunity here to respond to the two previous callers before we took that break a little while ago.
All right. Well, the thing is, you know, what is interesting is that I've also done an experiment. I decided to see what a visitor experience to Tobago is like. So I booked a cruise on Royal Caribbean, went through lots of other Caribbean islands. I think it started in San Juan in Puerto Rico. Right. All right. And it came down the chain of islands and it ended in Tobago, and then the next stop was back to San Juan. All right. And let me just give you this as an example. On the cruise ship, they have the booklet with all the tour activities and all the points of interest on all the various islands. And I'm talking coming down from Puerto Rico right down to Tobago. For every island, you have 3 or 4 pages with about 15 to 20 different activities that they would note. They have kayaking, they have zip line, they have, you know, parasailing, all the things, and they give you the price, they give you the tour operators' names, etc., all of that. So you're talking about 3 or 4 pages on every island. You know what Tobago had? 1 paragraph as a footnote on the very last page of the booklet. So I'm talking about, like, you had about 4 lines on Tobago, the whole of Tobago. There was very little that they said about Tobago.
Was a page missing? A couple pages were missing?
No, and that's it. Listen, because all along I was very proudly telling all the other guests, you know, I'm from Tobago and we're heading to Tobago. And then, you know, they kept asking, they said, well, what is there to do? And this is what I keep saying. That's why I tell you, our present leaders, and we have to be, you know, we have to be realistic about it. They don't understand what tourism is about. Tourism is a way of pleasantly separating a visitor from his money in a way that he would love to do it all again, and he will call all his friends and say, hey, come to that place, it's real nice. You have so many things to do. It's such a wonderful experience. The people treat you so nicely, they're so friendly, they have lots of good restaurants, they have good service. That's what people go for on vacation. You see, we need to understand, most of these visitors who come here, this vacation is like a once-in-a-lifetime dream for them. This is not like us running down to Trinidad to get a birth certificate or whatever, and you're hustling because you have to do it. This is something they've saved for, they've planned for, they've catered for it. So therefore, when they go, they plan their trips. And TripAdvisor, they go on TripAdvisor. So they would want to know, well, what are the ratings for this hotel in Tobago? What are the ratings for this activity? What can we do in Tobago? Where are the international benchmarks which would recommend Tobago? If you do not have those things, trust me, big websites like Expedia, they don't even bother about you.
Okay, let's just take a quick call here. Good morning and welcome to you, caller.
Hello?
Yes, good morning to you. Go ahead.
I must commend you for your beautiful and intellectual approach to dealing with the secretary this morning.
Thank you.
She is caught, and she is lying. And Mr. Martin George, let me tell you this. You are saying to bring back the young men and women who will come here in the morning. We are here, and we get no assistance. We are building a science lab for Tobago, and we are building libraries for Tobago. We are thrown aside. Therefore, what we need now, sir, with great respect to you, we need young men and old men, and Murray's an old man now, but he still has his senses in his mind. Yes. What we need here are men who understand what should be done. For example, when we became a member, or when we asked the community colleges for international development, they readily accept us. What did the government, that is when you have a bigger island with a smaller island, when we ask them for assistance, they willingly accept it, but your own Trinidad government, and I know you are Tobagonian, I presume, Dr. Griffith came up to Washington and told the Clinton government not to deal with Dr. Murray and my wife, who spent 2 years at NASA, not to deal with us. But today they can go at the same NASA, send their people to Virginia, and they are now getting the benefits.
Okay.
And we get nothing, sir. So when you are talking, and this is no attack to you, no, this is no shoot with full force. It's the reasonableness of our people, our leaders, who seek their own glory. And we who are here in the vineyard for years, we get nothing, but the war has now started, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. I couldn't agree with Dr. Murray more. When you think of the potential we have in Tobago, think of it. If we're talking tourism, why don't we look at starting a university of tourism and hospitality in Tobago? If we want to be serious, let's think of that. UTAH, University of Tourism and Hospitality. Let us build that. Let's have that here. Have the best, the brightest, the Michelin 4-star chefs who are going to come down and teach our students how to be cordon bleu chefs. You know what a chef makes at a top restaurant? They are highly paid. They are highly trained, highly skilled, very sought after individuals. Let us train our people in tourism management, hotel management. Let us train the other islands. Let Barbados, let St. Vincent, let St. Lucia send their people down here, that we train them. Let's set up that. If we want to start with something, and that's exactly what Dr. Murray is saying, we need to look at developing our people, developing our own. On the other issue that he spoke about, one of the ideas I have suggested repeatedly, and I will continue to suggest it, Tobago needs to have a post established of its own diplomatic ambassador. In other words, we must have a Tobago diplomatic ambassador, separate and apart from every other ambassador from Trinidad and Tobago officially. We must have somebody who seeks the interest of Tobago. So in other words, you have a trade mission to Washington, a trade mission to Korea, a trade mission to China. You have your Minister of Foreign Affairs and whoever and your other diplomats. You must have a Tobago diplomatic ambassador. I want Tobagonians to buy into this idea. We must press for this. They must establish that. We must have at every consulate abroad, say for instance, your consulate in Toronto, in New York, in London, in the High Commission, we must have a special post of a Tobago representative. In other words, if you have students from Tobago who are in London, who may need assistance, they may need advice, they may need guidance in terms of applying for jobs, applying for university, whatever, they must know that Tobago has its own representative. These are the things, these are the new ideas that I have. These are the new thinkings that we need to have in Tobago. We need to establish these things, put them in place, and therefore people can then rally around. So in other words, think of a simple thing. Why haven't we developed a Tobago flag, a Tobago identity, a Tobago color, a Tobago anthem? Why haven't we done these things?
Okay, isn't that taking it a little too far?
Not at all, not at all. No, it's not taking it far. Let me tell you something. That is what we need to re-energize and reinvigorate our people here in Tobago.
If we develop,
listen to me. Wait, hold on. I'm not saying it's a national anthem. It's an island anthem, a Tobago anthem. I am putting that forward as an idea. Remember today, I am saying this. Let's develop a Tobago anthem that we Tobagonians could rally around. It's an island anthem. There's nothing in the law to stop you from doing that.
We already have two flags.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a national flag, a THA flag, and an MTD flag.
An island flag. A Tobago
separate
flag,
and apart from all
separate
three?
and apart from all three, so that Tobagonians of whatever political persuasion, because I'll tell you, what has happened thus far, the THA has consistently always been identified with whichever political party is in power at the time. So therefore, it could never be that a THA flag will be a rallying point for all Tobagonians, because persons who are not of that political persuasion will feel marginalized, and those who are in power will feel, well, yes, it's we time now, to put it in the colloquialism. So we need to get an island flag. Let us have something that represents Tobago for all Tobagonians everywhere. Trinidadians, Tobagonians who live in Trinidad, they will know they could rally around that.
Okay,
a simple idea. No, sorry, I can't stop. I'm just on
fire.
I'll tell you. No, let me tell you this one. When you think of the airport in Trinidad.
One final call. We take one final call and then we allow you to wrap up. Good morning and welcome to caller.
Hello,
Hi,
caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Caller, you have less than 30 seconds.
Tobago flag already.
Yes.
You
Say again?
Calypso in Parliament, the Kickson and Murray flying the Tobago flag. It is right here in front of me. It's here.
Okay.
Go to read the Act of 96, Article 43, and it tells you because of the distance between Trinidad and Tobago, there is need to get your identity.
Okay.
That's right.
It's there.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
So we are not breaking away.
That's right.
We are merely defining ourselves in history now
Thank you.
because it is there.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And
Final call. Very quickly, good morning and welcome to caller. Okay, I think we've lost that call. No more calls.
And you see, that's the point. You see, the identity. We need to recapture our Tobagonian identity. We have lost that. We need to begin to get back that feeling of pride in being a Tobagonian. When I was small, you felt so much pride because Tobagonians were known to be hardworking, dedicated, industrious, successful people. You look at most of the leaders we've had in Trinidad and Tobago. We've had former governor of the central bank, attorneys general. We've had persons always in position of power and leadership from a small island of less than 60,000 people
Prime Minister,
compared
President,
to...
opposition
That's right.
leader.
This is the point. So from a small island, we've always been able to, develop and deliver beyond our capacity. But the point is our identity and our thinking and our ideas, they've been lost along the way. And that's what we need to recapture in Tobago.
We've got to leave it here. Now, viewers, just before we go very quickly, I need to let you know that Mr. George came onto our program this morning to talk about total policing. We have not touched the issue for the morning because of his passion for tourism, as he heard. Just as he arrived, the secretary was just wrapping up to leave our studios. And because of his passion for this particular area, or this particular niche, he has not been able to touch the topic that he came to treat with. But Mr. George, thank you so much for being on the program.
I'll just say, it's not just a passion for tourism, it's a passion for Tobago. It burns within me day and night, and it will never stop. And I will never stop speaking about it. And you see, even if people try to personalize things, I don't worry about that, because I like discussing principles, policies, and procedures for developing all of Tobago, regardless of political persuasion.
Thank you so much. Well, we leave it there. Just a quick reminder here, a public service announcement from the Goodwood High School. Forms 1 and 2 to collect your reports on Tuesday between 9 a.m. and 12 noon. Forms 3 and 4 on Thursday. Same hours, between 9 a.m. and 12 noon. Parents of Form 5 and 6 are asked to attend an urgent parents meeting on Friday the 17th from 9:30 a.m. and the PTA meeting is on Wednesday from 4:30 p.m. Have a great day, Tobago. Stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Bye-bye.
Rise and Shine is brought to you courtesy B Mobile.